Hey YouTube, how you doing? Biggie here, how's everything? Welcome to another movie review. Today's movie review is a movie I somewhat enjoy. It's okay, but it's not boring. A lot of people, especially critics, did not like this movie. But I did, at least some pretty good parts, majority of this movie. Movie I'm going to be reviewing today, it's a prequel to the 1994 film Dumb and Dumber. It's called Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd. Yep, Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd was released in the summer of 2003 and is directed by Troy Miller. The movie takes place in 1986, but the film itself is from 2003. However, if you recall in the first Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, you may remember Jim Carrey's Lloyd Christmas, and Jeff Daniels was Harry Dunn. However, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels do not return into this film. However, Lloyd in this film, Lloyd is played by Eric Christian Olsen, and Harry is played by Derek Richardson. And they did okay, pretty decent, not bad, but they were not as good as Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. And the film shows where Lloyd and Harry, when they first met in high school, after years of homeschooling, Harry finally makes it to the lead to public schools, and that's when he meets Lloyd, and they became good friends. And Lloyd's, I guess, adoptive father, was a school janitor and everything. And Lloyd and Harry, they end up in a special needs class, which turns out to be a false, fake special needs class created by Principal Collins, played by Eugene Levy. You probably have heard of Eugene Levy. He played like Jim, played by Jason Biggs' dad, in American Pie film series. And also, and with the help of the lunch lady in this film, Mrs. Heller, played by Cheri Oteri, they set it up, the fake special needs class, to steal money from parents and everything to fund their condo they have planned in Waikiki, Hawaii. And they even sell some school equipment and stuff and other things. And eventually, Lloyd and Harry, they find a chest of documents and cassette tapes of every scam Miss Heller and Principal Collins pulled so they can get the condo in Waikiki. And his corruption is discovered by a girl that Lloyd and Harry had a crush on named Jessica, played by Rachel Nichols. She was a fellow student who asked Lloyd and Harry to help her prove Collins' fraud and guilt. However, Jessica, in one scene, she ends up inviting Harry over to her house for dinner with her parents, her mother, played by Julia Duffy, and her father, played by Bob Saget. And I really loved Bob Saget in this film when Harry was at Jessica's. He sits on a heater, and there was a chocolate bar in his pocket, and it melts and gets all over the bathroom, and then Bob Saget eventually mistakenly thinks it's feces. And when Lloyd was following Harry to her house and to help Harry to what to say to Jessica, and then Harry catches Lloyd with Jessica, and he said he didn't want to see Lloyd again, and then he leaves. And then that's when you could hear Bob Saget's voice in the house after he sees the bathroom with chocolate all over. He's like I said, he mistakenly thinks it's feces. He's like, there's everywhere, and he's like, it's on the windows. Oh my God, my house is full of And then Lloyd leaves, and Jessica agreed to meet Lloyd somewhere at 8 p.m. But however, Lloyd and Jessica end up meeting somewhere, and then they get into the school, and that's when they eventually found the chest in the office, which was Principal Collins' office. And then that's when they eventually discover the hidden documents and cassette tapes and stuff. And they show their other friends in the special needs class, though Jessica was not in the special needs class, but they had other friends like Turk with the leather jacket and the mohawk, played by Elden Henson, and Lewis, played by Shia LeBeouf, who also played a character named Lewis on Disney Channel original series Even Stevens, which I used to watch growing up and everything. And then Lloyd and Harry make amends too eventually, and And then that's when they team up to expose Collins' fraud and everything and evil plans. And they were setting up for a Thanksgiving parade and for the high school, and there was a float of George Washington's head, and they modified it to look like Principal Collins, playing the tape of his voice and Mrs. Heller's voice of the scam. They pulled to the crowd and everything. There was a detective there and somebody else, and they caught Collins, and then Collins and Miss Heller and the lunch lady were arrested, and Principal Collins with his hands behind his back, and he's like, all I wanted was a condo in Waikiki. And every time I watch that scene, I'm like, oh, you're going to get your condo. It's a jail cell. And he was going to jail for a long time, and Jessica thanked Lloyd and Harry for everything, and then takes off with her boyfriend. Then Lloyd and Harry were, of course, friends again, too, even before they exposed Principal Collins, and they just moved on after Jessica left with her boyfriend. Then eventually they were approached by Freda Felcher and her twin sister Rita in a red Ferrari convertible, and asking them for a ride to take them to visit a new girls' college, and they debate over it, and then they both rejected it, and then Freda and Rita drive off, start the convertible engine, then they do burnout in the mud, splattered mud all over him, and then Jessica's dad's driving his car, accidentally hits Harry with his Mercedes, which resulted in Harry getting mud on the windshield, getting the windshield hood covered with mud, and then Jessica's dad recognized Harry, and he's like, you're the guy that crapped at my house. And he's like, you're covered in... And he's like, my car's covered in... He thought it was feces, and Lloyd and Harry said Jessica's dad's really anal, Jessica mentioned, and then Harry and Lloyd just walk away, and Bob Saget's yelling at him, and he's like, it's all over my hood, it's all over my Mercedes, oh my God, it's inside my grill. Come back here. I'm not cleaning this up. I'm going to have this towed. Come back here. Are you out of your mind? What is it with you and fecal matter, huh? And the outtakes in the film and everything. Yeah. Yeah, and may Bob Saget, may he rest in peace, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd, I really liked it, but like I mentioned, not a lot of people liked it. Not a lot of critics liked it. It has a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's low. A 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb. And it has a 19% on Metacritic and 63% of Google users like this. And I think it's okay, but if people want to hate me for liking this film or something or whatever, my opinion on this film, go ahead. The film was a moderate box office success, but it was panned by critics. We all know, who compared it unfavorably to the original 1994 film. This film had a budget of $19 million, and it made $39.3 million at the box office. So. But yeah, nothing's as good as the original Dumb and Dumber film, and so. But yeah, even I love the scenes like the wedgies part and everything when they're hanging by the flagpole, the wedgie and everything, and but I really liked the Bob Saget part and everything, and Bob Saget was one of my favorite all-time comedians and everything. Full House, it was my favorite TV show and everything, and I'm very saddened and disappointed he's no longer with us, but he's with us right here in our hearts forever. Even I used to love America's Funniest Home Videos growing up, watching him and on the show, hosting the show and everything. Even when I used to watch the reruns of America's Funniest Home Videos with him on like Nick at Night, Hallmark Channel, ABC Family and everything, and TBS, and things just not the same anymore. And however, yeah, and I did like the scene where where Principal Collins, when he found out the chest was missing, and he falsely accused Jessica and resulted to Principal Collins prank calling Jessica's parents to keep her at his house overnight to interrogate her and everything. In my opinion, that's considered kidnapping, and something like that I really didn't like. I mean, and I'm not going to discuss it on here, so. But other than that, I kind of like half recommend it and half don't recommend it, so. But check it out for yourself, so yeah. And check out the first film if you've never, Dumb and Dumber, if you've never seen it, and check out Dumb and Dumber 2 as well, so. Alright, YouTube, nice seeing you. Take it easy, be safe, and stay out of trouble. Peace.